The galaxy was old. Stars were born and died every day, and empires rose and fell like waves in dark space. Among all of them, one power stood above the rest. They were called the Aurelian Dominion. Their ships were huge, golden, and silent. Their cities floated between stars. Their fleets controlled trade routes, warpaths, and history itself. When the Dominion spoke, the galaxy listened. When they fought, entire species disappeared. In the Great Hall of Records, an Aurelian High Commander stood before a glowing star map. His many eyes moved across thousands of systems. His voice was calm and cold. "There are no threats left," he said. "The galaxy is clean." A young officer stepped forward. "Commander, there is one old system marked as classified void. No data. No history." The commander looked at the empty space on the map. Then he gave a slow, confident laugh. "That is nothing," he said. "That system never mattered." Another officer asked carefully, "What species live there?" The commander answered without emotion. "None. Humans never existed." The officers nodded. The statement was simple. Final. In the Dominion archives there was no planet called Earth. No species called human. No wars. No resistance. Only empty space, marked and forgotten. Long ago there had been a short and ugly war. A small, loud species had dared to stand against the Dominion. They had weak ships, loud weapons, and strange ideas about freedom. They fought with courage but not with power. The Dominion crushed them. At least that was the official story. After the war, the Dominion erased everything. Star maps were edited. Data cores were cleaned. Even allied species were told a simple truth. The humans were primitive. They were removed. Over time the name faded. Children of the galaxy never learned it. Historians never searched for it. Silence replaced memory. The Dominion believed extinction was complete. But silence can lie. Far from the bright trade lanes, beyond known borders, deep in dark and cold space, something moved. Not fast. Not loud. Not visible. A small alien patrol ship drifted near an old asteroid field close to the erased system. The crew was bored. Nothing ever happened here. One officer scanned the area. "Commander," he said slowly, "I am detecting something strange." The patrol commander frowned. "Explain." "There is energy," the officer replied. "Very weak. Very old. Like a ghost signal." The commander checked the screen. The signal did not match any known technology. "Probably debris," he said. "This system was cleared long ago." Still the ship paused. For a moment the stars seemed too quiet. Then the signal disappeared. The patrol moved on, never knowing how close it had come to the truth. Because beneath a dead moon, hidden under layers of rock and metal, an ancient station slept. Inside it, lights flickered on for the first time in centuries. The station was not beautiful. It was damaged, scarred, and patched together from old parts. Human parts. A human voice echoed through the metal halls. "Power level stable." Another voice answered, older and tired. "Signal received from deep space?" "Yes," came the reply. "Phase 1 complete. They still believe we are gone." The station was one of many. Across forgotten systems, under oceans, inside hollow asteroids, humans survived. Not in billions. Not as an empire. But as sparks. They had learned a hard lesson. Never fight louder than your enemy. Fight smarter. While the Dominion ruled openly, humans watched quietly. They rebuilt not with size but with thought. They studied alien weapons. They learned alien politics. They learned patience. Generations grew up underground. Children learned history that the galaxy had forgotten. They learned one truth above all others. We were erased. But we remember. Back in Dominion space, the High Commander addressed the Galactic Council. "The age of war is over," he declared. "No unknown species remain. The galaxy is finally under order." Applause echoed through the hall. None of them noticed a small change. In the dark space beyond the erased system, shadows moved together. One ship became 3. 3 became 10. 10 became many. They were different from Dominion ships. Smaller. Dark. Silent. Built to hide, not to shine. Inside the lead vessel, a human commander stood still, looking at a star map that showed something forbidden. "Fleet status?" he asked. "All units ready," came the answer. "No detection. No records. Just like we planned." The commander closed his eyes for a moment. "They erased us from history," he said quietly. "Now we return to it." The fleet began to move, slipping through dark space like a thought that could no longer be forgotten. Far away the galaxy slept in peace. It did not know it was being watched. And it did not know that extinction had failed. Book question. If humans were erased, who is watching the galaxy now? The galaxy believed humans were gone. But deep in the dark places between stars, the truth was very different. Long after the Aurelian Dominion erased Earth from history, humans learned how to survive without being seen. They stopped building bright cities. They stopped sending loud signals. They stopped acting like an empire. They became shadows. Hidden stations floated inside hollow asteroids. Underground cities slept beneath dead planets. Old ships were taken apart and rebuilt into smaller, smarter machines. Every human place had one rule above all others: never be noticed. On one such station, called Haven 7, artificial lights slowly turned on. The station was old but alive. Humans walked through narrow metal halls. Engineers checked power lines. Soldiers trained in silence. Children studied screens filled with stars and alien symbols. They were not taught fear. They were taught patience. A human historian stood before a small group of young students. His hair was gray. His voice was calm. "Why do we hide?" one child asked. The historian paused. Then he answered. "Because the galaxy thinks we are weak," he said. "And that is our greatest weapon." He touched the screen and an image appeared. It showed alien fleets. Massive. Powerful. "They destroyed us once," he continued. "Not because we were stupid, but because we were loud." The children listened closely. "Now," he said, "we learn. We adapt. We wait." Across human space, this lesson was repeated again and again. Humans studied alien technology piece by piece. They did not copy it. They improved it. They learned how alien shields worked and how to break them. They learned alien command structures and where pride replaced logic. Most of all, they learned how aliens thought. Slowly, quietly, humans grew stronger. On a distant research station, a group of scientists gathered around a glowing core. It was not a weapon. It was not a ship. It was a mind. The first true human artificial intelligence. Its name was Ares. Ares did not speak like humans. It did not feel like humans. But it learned faster than any being the galaxy had ever seen. It watched battles from the past. It simulated millions of futures. And it reached one clear conclusion. "The Dominion underestimates you," Ares said in a calm, flat voice. A human commander crossed his arms. "They think we are extinct." "Incorrect," Ares replied. "They think you never mattered." The room fell silent. Ares continued. "That belief will destroy them." Human leaders did not cheer. They did not celebrate. They knew revenge was not enough. If humans returned only with anger, they would lose again. They needed control. They needed precision. They needed time. So they waited. Years passed. Then decades. Then more. Human fleets were not built in open space. They were assembled in pieces, hidden across many systems. No ship looked special alone. Together they would become something new. Stealth ships. Adaptive weapons. Armor that learned from damage. Not many ships, but enough. Meanwhile, the Aurelian Dominion grew comfortable. They fought small wars against weaker species. They argued in councils. They competed for power and pride. Humans were never mentioned. Why would they be? One day, deep in Dominion territory, a major communication relay went dark for 3 seconds. Only 3. Engineers blamed a solar wave. No investigation followed. What they did not know was that a small human probe had passed through the system, unseen. It listened. It learned. Then it vanished. On Haven 7, alarms stayed silent as data flowed in. Human analysts watched alien fleet movements in real time. "They still don't see us," one officer said. "Good," another replied. "Let them stay blind." In a command chamber lit by soft blue light, the same human commander from before studied the stars. His face showed no joy. Only focus. "Status of the hidden colonies?" he asked. "All secure," came the reply. "No detection. No losses." "Ares?" the commander asked. The AI responded instantly. "Probability of successful first phase, 94%. The commander nodded. "Begin preparations," he said. "But no attacks. Not yet." Outside the station, the stars burned quietly. Somewhere far away, the Dominion celebrated peace. They did not see the human fleets slowly aligning in dark space. They did not hear the silent orders pass through tight beam signals. They did not understand one simple truth. Humans had not survived by strength alone. They survived by learning. And now, after centuries of silence, the waiting was almost over. In the deepest part of human-controlled space, ships moved into formation. Engines powered up at the lowest possible level. No lights. No signals. The human commander looked at the fleet. For a long time, he said, we were ghosts. He paused. Now, he continued, we become a question the galaxy cannot ignore. The fleet began to move, slipping toward the edge of known space. Toward the Dominion. Toward history. The survivors were done hiding. The first human attack did not look like a war. There were no alarms across the galaxy. No burning worlds. No great fleets meeting in open space. The Aurelian Dominion continued its daily routines, unaware that the balance of power had already begun to change. The first strike was silent. In the outer regions of Dominion territory, a massive communication relay floated between two stars. It was one of thousands. It carried fleet orders, trade data, and political messages. Without it, nearby systems would be blind. To the Dominion it was untouchable. To humans it was a door. A single human stealth ship drifted close to the relay. It was small, dark, and almost invisible. Its hull absorbed light. Its engines whispered. Inside, the crew did not speak. Ares guided the ship with perfect precision. Distance optimal, the AI said. Deploying infiltration units. From the ship's underside, tiny machines detached. They moved like dust, spreading across the relay's surface. They did not explode. They did not cut. They listened. For several minutes, nothing happened. Then quietly the relay began to change. Data slowed. Signals looped. Command messages arrived late or not at all. 3 Dominion fleets received orders that were slightly wrong. One fleet turned left instead of right. Another arrived too early. Another waited when it should have moved. No one noticed. Until confusion spread. A Dominion fleet commander slammed his claw against a control panel. Why are our orders unclear? He demanded. Engineers checked systems. All relays are active, one replied. No damage detected. The commander growled. Then why are we blind? At the Galactic Council, officials argued. This is a technical issue, one said. No, another replied. This is sabotage. By who? A third demanded. There is no enemy left. The word hung in the air. No enemy. Meanwhile, the human ship pulled away. The machines detached and burned up, leaving no trace. Phase 1 was complete. In another system, a Dominion weapons factory reported an error. Production slowed by 4%. The cause was unknown. In another, a supply convoy arrived at an empty station. Its destination data had been changed. Small problems. But they added up. On a human command station, analysts watched the results in silence. They are reacting, one officer said. But they don't know how. That is the point, the commander replied. Fear grows faster when it has no shape. Ares projected simulations across the room. Enemy efficiency reduced, the AI reported. Confusion spreading through command structures. How long until they suspect us? The commander asked. Ares paused for less than a second. They will not suspect humans. Probability near 0. Why? Because their records say humans never existed. The commander allowed himself a thin smile. The second strike came days later. A Dominion patrol encountered what looked like space debris. As they moved closer, their sensors failed. For exactly 8 seconds. That was enough. A human drone passed through the patrol formation, scanning every ship. Weapon types. Shield patterns. Crew numbers. Then it vanished. When the sensors returned, the debris was gone. The patrol reported nothing. They did not want to look foolish. Across Dominion space, unease grew. Minor species began to whisper. Trade routes became unreliable. Military drills failed. Ships arrived late to ceremonies and meetings. The Dominion had ruled for centuries with perfect order. Now order was cracking. In the Great Hall of Records, an Aurelian historian stood alone. He stared at an old, restricted data vault. It had not been opened in generations. He hesitated. Then he accessed it. Most of the files were corrupted. Deleted. Burned away. But one fragment remained. A single word. Human. The historian's breathing slowed. That is impossible, he whispered. Back in dark space, human fleets continued to move. They did not attack ships. They did not destroy worlds. They cut eyes. They cut ears. They cut trust. The Dominion began emergency inspections of their systems. More fleets were deployed. More power was used. Exactly as humans wanted. Every response revealed more weaknesses. In a hidden briefing room, human leaders gathered. They are spreading their forces thin, one said. They are panicking, another added. Ares displayed a final projection. This level of disruption will force a council response, the AI said. They will search for an explanation. And when they do, the commander asked, they will find history, Ares replied. And history will frighten them. The commander looked at the star map. Prepare the next phase, he said. Not destruction. He paused. Recognition. In Dominion space, alarms finally sounded. Not from weapons fire but from loss of control. For the first time in centuries, the Aurelian Dominion did not understand what was happening. And in the darkness between stars, humanity watched. Patient. Silent. Unseen. The first strike was over. The galaxy had been touched. And it did not even know by whom. Confusion turned into fear. Across the Aurelian Dominion, reports flooded in. Fleets were late. Supply routes failed. Communication relays worked, but not correctly. Nothing was broken, yet nothing worked as it should. For the first time in centuries, the Dominion felt uncertain. An emergency session of the Galactic Council was called. Representatives from dozens of species gathered in the great circular chamber. Some were tall and bright. Others were small and hidden behind shields. All of them felt the same thing. Unease. The Aurelian High Commander stood at the center. His golden armor reflected the council lights. This is not a rebellion, he said firmly. This is not an invasion. A delegate from a minor species raised a trembling limb. Then explain why your fleets cannot protect the trade lanes, the delegate said. Our worlds are suffering. The commander turned his many eyes toward the speaker. The Dominion is still in control, he replied. These are irregular events. Whispers filled the chamber. Another delegate spoke more boldly. Irregular events do not blind entire systems. The commander remained silent. In the shadows of the hall, an old Aurelian historian watched carefully. He had not slept since opening the forbidden archive. The single word he had found burned in his mind. Human. When the council session paused, the historian moved quietly toward a restricted data terminal. He entered ancient access codes, long unused. More fragments appeared. Broken images. Damaged battle reports. Names erased but not fully destroyed. The story began to form. Long ago, the Dominion had fought a species that adapted too quickly. A species that learned during battle. A species that did not fight like others. The files ended suddenly. The historian felt something he had never felt before. Regret. Back in the council chamber, tensions rose. A military representative slammed a claw on the floor. If there is an enemy, name it. Silence followed. Then the historian stepped forward. There was once a species, he said carefully. They were removed from our records. The High Commander turned sharply. That is impossible. The historian activated the display. Broken symbols appeared. They were called humans. The chamber exploded with noise. That name is forbidden, someone shouted. They were insignificant, another cried. The historian stood his ground. They were underestimated, he said, and erased by choice, not by fact. Fear spread like fire. A representative from a neutral species whispered, if they were erased once, they could be erased again. The historian shook his head slowly. No, he said, because erasure requires control. And control is what we are losing. The High Commander stepped forward, anger clear in his voice. This council will not be ruled by old ghosts, he declared. There is no proof humans survived. At that moment, every screen in the chamber flickered. The lights dimmed. A single signal cut through all systems. A calm, simple human voice filled the hall. Attention, Galactic Council. The chamber fell silent. We did not come to destroy you, the voice continued. We came to be acknowledged. The message ended as suddenly as it began. Chaos followed. Guards raised weapons. Delegates shouted. Systems were checked again and again. But there was no trace of the signal. Back in Dominion Command, panic spread. They spoke our language, an officer said. They accessed council systems, another added. The High Commander clenched his fists. Find them, he ordered. Find every hidden system. Burn every shadow. But the shadows moved faster. In human space, leaders watched the council broadcast. They heard us, one said. Yes, the commander replied. And now they are afraid. Ares spoke softly. Fear increases the probability of strategic errors. The commander nodded. Good, he said. Let them make mistakes. Across the galaxy, smaller species reacted in different ways. Some worlds fortified their defenses. Some cut ties with the Dominion. Some quietly hoped the humans would win. Because if the Dominion could be shaken, anything was possible. In the Galactic Council chamber, the historian sat alone after the session ended. He looked at the damaged records one last time. "You were not monsters," he whispered. "You were survivors." Far away, human fleets shifted positions. They had revealed only one thing: their voice. The galaxy now knew a truth it could never forget. Humans existed, and they were watching. Fear had entered the council. And fear was only the beginning. The galaxy did not sleep after the message. Across thousands of worlds, the same question spread like fire. Who are the humans? The Aurelian Dominion tried to control the story. Official broadcasts claimed the signal was fake. A trick. An echo from old systems. But the words had been clear. Come. Confident. And fear does not listen to lies. Trade slowed. Neutral species delayed agreements. Military fleets stayed closer to home. The Dominion still looked powerful, but its image had cracked. In the High Command chamber, Aurelian leaders argued. "They dare to speak to us," one commander said. "They hide like insects," another growled. "We should crush them now." The High Commander raised a hand. "No," he said. "We must understand them first." He turned to the historian. "You opened forbidden records," the commander said coldly. "Tell us what we erased." The historian took a breath. "They were not strong like us," he said. "They were adaptable. They learned faster than we predicted. That frightened the old command. So we erased them," another commander said. "A mistake." "Yes," the historian replied. "Because erasure did not kill them. It taught them." Silence filled the room. Meanwhile, in human space, the reaction was very different. The message had been planned for years. Every word was chosen carefully. Human leaders stood in a quiet command hall. No cheering. No celebration. "They heard us," an officer said. "All of them." The human commander nodded. "And now they will react," he replied. "This is the most dangerous moment." Ares projected new data. "Dominion fleets are mobilizing," the AI said. "Search patterns increasing. Aggression probability rising." "Expected," the commander said. "But they still do not know where to strike." That was the advantage. The second human message was prepared. Not a threat. Not a demand. A reminder. It was sent across every major channel at the same time. Not hacked. Not hidden. Open. Every screen in the galaxy displayed the same words. "You erased us from history. We did not forget you." Images followed. Not of weapons. Of ruins. Destroyed human cities. Burned worlds. Refuge stations drifting in space. Children learning under metal skies. Then more images. Hidden fleets. Adaptive armor. Silent ships moving between stars. The final line appeared. "We survived. Now we decide what comes next." The message ended. For a long moment, the galaxy was silent. Then panic erupted. On Dominion worlds, citizens demanded answers. Minor species questioned alliances. Some worlds openly called for peace with humans. Others demanded war. In the Galactic Council, emergency lights flashed again. "They show strength," one delegate said. "They show restraint," another replied. "That is more dangerous." The High Commander watched the message again and again. "They control supply routes," he said slowly. "Our fleets depend on them." Engineers confirmed it. Trade lanes were being redirected. Fuel depots failed without explanation. No explosions. Just absence. Humans were not attacking. They were positioning. Back in human command, officers watched Dominion movements shift exactly as predicted. "They are pulling back fleets to defend core systems," one said. Ares confirmed. "Their perimeter is weakening." The commander's voice remained calm. "Send no ships," he ordered. "Let fear do the work." But the Dominion still had one answer left. In a hidden system near their capital world, an ancient weapon was activated. It was called the Star Hammer. A weapon designed to break planets. To erase systems completely. It had not been used in centuries. The High Commander stood before its control chamber. "If humans hide in shadows," he said, "we will burn the dark." Orders were set. The Star Hammer began to charge. Human sensors detected the energy spike almost immediately. Ares analyzed the data. "Weapon capability, extreme," the AI reported. "Target range, multiple systems." Human officers tensed. "This could wipe out our hidden colonies," one said. The commander did not look away from the star map. "They are afraid," he said. "And fear makes them predictable." He turned to Ares. "Can we stop it?" "Yes," Ares replied. But that would reveal fleet locations. The commander thought for a moment. Then he shook his head. No, he said. We will not stop it. The room froze. Redirect our people, he continued. Empty the shadows they plan to burn. Ares processed instantly. Evacuation possible. Losses minimal. Good, the commander said. Let them fire. Because the next step was not about survival. It was about choice. Across the galaxy, the Dominion prepared to strike. They believed they were about to end a ghost. They did not realize they were proving the human message true. History was no longer erased. It was being rewritten. And the humans were holding the pen. The Aurelian Dominion fired the star hammer. Light brighter than stars tore through space. Entire systems shook as artificial energy ripped across dark space. Planets cracked. Empty colonies burned. Ancient shadows turned to dust. To the Dominion it looked like victory. They are gone, an Aurelian commander said as the weapon cooled. Nothing survives that power. The High Commander watched the data carefully. No, he said slowly. Something is wrong. The targets had been human hiding zones. But human signals did not disappear. Instead they shifted. Human fleets were still active. The star hammer had burned emptiness. In human command space, officers watched the destruction in silence. Evacuation was complete. No cheers followed. They chose destruction, one officer said quietly. The human commander nodded. Then they chose war. Ares spoke with calm precision. Dominion weapon patterns analyzed, the AI said. Adaptation complete. Human fleets began to move. For the first time humans did not hide. Across multiple systems, human ships appeared suddenly. Not in large numbers but in perfect positions. They did not rush forward. They waited. Dominion patrols were the first to encounter them. These ships are unknown, an officer reported. They are not retreating. Open fire, came the order. Dominion weapons struck human shields. The shields changed. They absorbed the first hit. The second hit passed through harmlessly. The third was reflected back. What is happening? The Dominion commander shouted. The human ships responded with precision fire. Not wide blasts. Not chaos. Engines disabled. Weapons shut down. Command ships isolated. Human weapons learned during the fight. Each second made them better. They adapt in real time, an Aurelian officer said in fear. Yes, the commander replied. Like they did before. Battles spread across space. Dominion fleets were larger, stronger. But they fought the same way every time. Humans did not. They changed tactics mid-battle. They sacrificed ships to gather data. They turned enemy formations against themselves. Ares coordinated everything. Enemy shield frequency identified. Counter deployed. Weapon effectiveness increased by 12%. Human pilots trusted the AI completely. Because Ares learned faster than any commander ever could. On one battlefield, a Dominion battleship charged forward, confident in its size. Human ships scattered. The battleship fired. Nothing hit. Then its engines shut down. Human boarding teams arrived seconds later. They did not slaughter. They captured. We are not here to erase you, a human soldier said to a stunned alien officer. We are here to end this. Fear spread faster than fire. Dominion fleets began to retreat. But retreat failed. Human ships appeared behind them. Supply routes collapsed. Repair stations were disabled. Command signals were cut. The Dominion's greatest strength, order, became its weakness. In the Galactic Council chamber, delegates watched battle feeds in horror. They are winning, one whispered. No, another replied. They are teaching. Back in Dominion High Command, panic finally broke control. We must use the Star Hammer again, a commander demanded. No, the historian shouted. That will only prove them right. The High Commander stared at the battlefield projections. They are not trying to destroy us, he said. They are dismantling us. And he understood. Humans were not fighting for revenge alone. They were fighting for control. For history. For the right to decide. As human fleets pushed closer to the Dominion capital system, resistance weakened. Whole fleets surrendered. Others powered down rather than face another adaptive battle. In human command, the commander watched the final approach. Send terms, he ordered. Ares transmitted a simple message. Stand down. This war ends when you stop fighting. The Dominion did not answer. Instead, they launched one final attack. It failed within minutes. The last defensive line fell. The path to the capital world was open. The war the Dominion believed would erase humans had done the opposite. It revealed them. Stronger. Smarter. Unbreakable. The galaxy watched as the impossible happened. The Aurelian Dominion, ruler of history itself, was losing. And this was the war they would regret forever. Black Circle Part 7, Rewritten History. HFY, Third Person Simple Basic English Long Part, Finale. The capital world of the Aurelian Dominion had never been threatened. For centuries, its golden cities shined beneath artificial suns. Its defense rings were said to be perfect. No enemy fleet had ever crossed them. Until now. Human ships appeared at the edge of the system. They did not rush forward. They did not fire. They waited. Dominion commanders stared at their screens in silence. Weapons were ready. Shields were charged. But no order came. The High Commander stood alone in the central tower, watching the stars. His empire was still vast, but it was broken. Not by force alone. By truth. They could destroy us, he said quietly. But they choose not to. The historian stood beside him. They remember what we tried to erase, the historian replied. Human ships moved closer. Defense systems tracked them, and then powered down. Across the Dominion fleets the same thing happened. One by one ships went silent. The war was over. A single human vessel moved forward, broadcasting on open channels. We are not here to end you, the human commander said. We are here to end the lie. A landing platform opened in the capital city. Human envoys arrived, unarmed. The Galactic Council gathered again. Fear filled the chamber, but something new was present as well. Respect. The human commander stood before the council. He did not wear armor. He did not raise his voice. You erased us from history, he said. You decided we did not matter. He looked around the room. We survived, he continued. Not to rule you. Not to destroy you. He paused. But to make sure this never happens again. The historian stepped forward. The records, he said. They must be restored. Human data cores were connected to the council archives. Lost worlds appeared. Names returned. Battles were recorded truthfully. Earth reappeared on the star maps. History breathed again. Some species feared punishment. None came. Humans proposed a new order. No single empire would control history. No species would be erased. Records would be shared and protected. The Dominion accepted. Not because they were forced, but because they had learned. Across the galaxy, reactions spread. Some worlds celebrated. Some mourned. Some simply watched in awe. Humans returned to the stars not as ghosts but as guardians. They did not build statues. They did not demand tribute. They watched. They remembered. In a quiet moment, the human commander stood alone, looking at Earth's image. We were erased, he said softly. Ares responded. Correction. You were tested. The commander smiled. No, he said. We were underestimated. The galaxy moved forward. And history once stolen was finally rewritten. Final line. You erased us from history. Now history remembers us. The capital system of the Aurelian Dominion was silent. For the first time in its long history, no patrol ships moved in perfect lines. No victory signals filled the stars. The Great Golden Defense Ring still existed, but it no longer mattered. Human fleets surrounded the system. They did not attack. They did not threaten. They waited. Inside the Dominion capital city, panic had faded into something worse. Understanding. The High Commander stood before a wide window, looking at the stars he once controlled. His empire was still there, but its power was gone. They could destroy everything, he said quietly. But they choose restraint. The old historian stood beside him. That is why we lost, the historian replied. We believed power was only force. Across the system, a single human ship moved forward. It was not large. It was not armed for war. Its message was open to all channels. We request council access, the human commander said calmly. No weapons. No threats. The Galactic Council had no choice. The chamber filled once more. Delegates from every major species gathered. Fear was visible on many faces. But so was curiosity. The human commander entered alone. No armor. No guards. He looked like any other being in the room. That made the silence heavier. You erased us, he began. Not because we were dangerous, but because we were inconvenient. Some delegates looked away. You removed our worlds from maps, he continued. You deleted our names from records. You taught the galaxy we never existed. He paused. But erasing history does not erase truth. Behind him, a human technician activated a data stream. Ancient files filled the council screens. Human colonies. The First War. The Erasure Order. Gasps filled the chamber. The historian stepped forward, his voice shaking. "We lied," he said. "To the galaxy. To ourselves." The human commander nodded. "We did not return for revenge," he said. "We returned for correction." A delegate from a small species spoke carefully. "You could rule us now," the delegate said. "Why don't you?" The human commander answered without hesitation. "Because we know what that becomes." Human proposals followed. No single empire would control galactic records. No species could erase another from history. A shared archive would be protected by all. Not ruled. Guarded. The Aurelian Dominion accepted the terms. Not because they were forced, but because they had been exposed. Across the galaxy, reactions spread quickly. Some worlds celebrated the fall of the Dominion's control. Some feared the future. Many simply felt relief. Human fleets slowly pulled back. They did not take territory. They did not demand tribute. They returned to the shadows, but not to hide. To watch. On a restored star map, Earth glowed once more. In a quiet human command station, the commander stood alone. "We were erased," he said softly. Ares answered, "And yet you returned." The commander looked at the stars. "No," he replied. "We endured." History had been rewritten. And this time it would not forget. Final words. "You erased us from history. Now history remembers us."